Wildly of Wildly Tarot here, and this is your Moonday message for September, and in particular the first week of September, beginning September 6th, 2021. And this message is brought to you in celebration of the opening of my waitlist for Wild, a moon medicine collective for women. I am launching a power portal for women who would like to come together and support one another as we do the work necessary to dive into ourselves, find all of the sticky places and mental boxes that prevent us from fully showing up in our lives in the most authentic, powerful, and exquisite way possible. And we do this in community through vulnerability practice circles and personal guidance, as well as personal inquiry and a lot of other juicy, wonderful things. If you are curious about this membership, please check the link below, check my link tree or the bio for more information and just to hop on the wait list so you can get information when it goes live in just a couple of weeks. And now for this particular week, the energy that is present for all of us is quite potent and a little edgy. So the first card that came forward for us all this week, we have the Hermit. And this card hasn't come out in a little while. This is the card of turning inward, of creating space for ourselves, of being more in our own company or with the company of nature. And I'm really drawn in particular to the Hermit's Lantern, which gives us the notion that we never really know what we're moving into. You know, when you're walking by the light of a lantern, you can only really see one or maybe two steps in front of yourself. The Hermit is the card of trust and faith in the process, trust and faith in great mystery, in knowing that all of our needs will be met in one way or another, that we are all resilient beings, that we are in essence animals, and that we have inside of us a map, an intrinsic way of survival that maybe we've never tuned into before in civilized life, and yet it's still there. It still remains dormant. We all have the ability, if we want to tune into these animal parts of our brain, to sense and find water, to watch animals and plants and learn how to work with them, how to be with them, how to be nourished by them. Our ancestors had all of this knowledge, and it still lives within us, in our bones and in our DNA. And what I'm sensing here from the Hermit is that whatever is happening externally in the macrocosm, it's triggering for all of us something in the microcosm, a need to tune into this intrinsic level of trust, that we don't know how things are unfolding, that we don't really know what's heading our direction, that we might make plans 2 years from now or 4 years from now that may or may not ever come to fruition. But we can hold faith and trust in the process as long as we are in tune with our own internal hermit, the one that has that trust, the one that is totally in alignment and acknowledgement of our own personal needs and desires and dreams and goals. So this is a real invitation this week for all of us to perhaps make some space with those around us and get really clear on our own personal dreams and desires and goals. Put those wishes out into the universe and then let them go and be present in the now, in this experience, this moment, following our steps one step at a time based on what we can see, and adjusting those long-term plans as we move down the trail. So life is always happening, and things, despite the biggest dreams that we might so desperately want, they're never a guarantee. Life is just life, and we have to just keep moving forward and following what feels true to us in any given moment, knowing that we owe no obligations to anyone else. We are the only ones who must live life in our bodies. We are the only ones who must suffer any consequences or repercussions or benefits from the choices that we make. And so it's up to us to make choices that are really in alignment with who we are. And it's met here, these feel like they're really in tandem with the King of Swords. And this is a very, the word that I'm hearing is rigid. It's just a rigid card. You can see here he's quite upright and has the sword quite firmly upright in the offensive or defensive position. And yet the handout being invited in. So I'm just getting the sense from this card that energetically in the macrocosm, we're being invited in to black and white thinking this week, to rigidness, to either or. That just feels like what I'm hearing come through my channel in this moment. And it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's simply noticing. Noticing this week. If you find yourself in conversations that feel very black or white, where there isn't space for nuance or space for feeling in and feeling the edges and asking questions. Noticing if you find yourself thinking in terms of being very black and white, and just recognizing that this energy is prevalent in the macrocosm for all of us, and it's not good or bad. And yet when it is here married with the Hermit, we are invited to say, oh, I'm catching myself in either or. I'm going to create a little bit of space, come back to my cave where I feel safe and where my energy is not intertwined with everyone around me. How do I really feel about this? Whatever this is, whatever this is for you this week, just recognizing that the energy outwards in the macrocosm might be a little bit more confining than you might prefer. And then again, it might not be, and that's okay too. There's no good or bad or right or wrong. There's simply perception and perspective. And the message that I'm receiving is just a reminder that our perception and our perspective is very much influenced by what we consume and who we spend our time with. And it is each of our opportunity to consider taking in multiple things in order to create the most rounded experience for ourselves as possible, in order to dive into nuance and be in the space of both and. Can both things be true and? Can both things be false and? Just an invitation to allow the mind to play in great mystery without the necessity of having rigid definitions and good cop, bad cop, and all of the duality that exists in our playing ground here. You know, we all share this field together, and we each have an opportunity to experience it the way that we want to. We are all sovereign beings that have the power and authority to experience and choose paths within that shared experience. And so the medicine card that came forward for us all this week, we have Three of Pentacles. And what I'm sensing in this medicine card, first we have Pentacles, which is earth. It's where we feel grounded, where we feel safe, where we feel secure. And this suggests that we find our groundedness and our safety and our security by fully investing and diving into that which makes us unique. Like really tuning into our own particular frequency, really tuning into what we offer the planet, what our service work is, what our passion work is, what our hobbies are. What are the things that bring you the most joy? This is the antidote for these times, is to step into our joy factor and to really amplify that in our lives when we are all collectively in a time of stress. Joy is the medicine, and no one is going to gift us this joy. We have to employ a strategy to invite more joy into our day-to-day existence. It is far, far too easy to slowly slip in our mindset and to slowly slip in our self-care, in our practices. We have to employ some level of electric discipline and create the space in our lives for joy to be a priority. And no one is going to do that for us. It's up to each one of us to do that. That feels like the message this week, my friends. I hope that it serves you well. I hope that you have everything that you need. If you would like some support as you are navigating the month of September, I have spaces available beginning the 3rd week of the month. I would absolutely love to share some one-on-one space with you where we create a sacred space where you are held in safety and with love, and are offered the questions and inquiry that might be needed for you to have these breakthroughs and ability to up-level in the way you experience your day-to-day life. We do have the power to experience life differently. It is fully and totally an inside job. And sometimes we need mirrors to help reflect that to us so that we can show up even more fully in our experience on this planet. If you feel called, you can book a session with me. Just check out my bio. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful moon day.